Hey everyone, Griff Hamlin here from Blues Guitar Unleashed. Welcome, thanks for joining me today. In this video, we're going to talk about what I call the Texas style chunka chunka rhythm. And I don't have any fancier name for it than that because I don't know what else to call it. It's just a great sound, guys like Stevie Ray Vaughan, of course. But, Kenny Wayne Shepherd. Of course, I do, some of my music. I definitely use this kind of sound. There's so many players that use this kind of sound, and there's kind of two parts to it. There's, I'll say, the technique involved, where there's definitely a right hand and a left hand technique involved for getting this kind of sound. There's also sort of a what notes to choose from. Where do these riffs come from? You may notice that they often sound fairly similar, but always a little bit different. And so, where do people get these note ideas from? So I'm going to talk a little bit about both of those things today. So the first part, of course, is the technique. And the technique is such a it's such a heavy-handed thing, and for me at least, I kind of have to use my Strat. The reason that I use the Strat as opposed to the Les Paul for this sort of thing is primarily because I want the strings to bounce back a little bit more. And so with a Strat, the scale length is a little bit longer, and I kind of get a little bit more feel out of it. I'm not saying you can't do it with a shorter scale like a Les Paul or something, but I do tend to have, I think, better results with a Strat. So that's what I'm going to use, and that's what we'll talk about. So in the notes that I'm going to choose from right now, I'm going to start with the A at the 7th fret of the 4th string. And as you'll see, I'm going to choose notes from the A minor pentatonic scale. But I'm going to start at the A at the 7th fret of the 4th string. The trick to this is as follows. On the up beats, remember that our beats go, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. That's kind of how we get that blues shuffle. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So on the ups, I'm going to let go, and I'm going to hit the strings open. Now, when you play slow, that's going to sound really lousy, but when you get this up to speed, it sounds fine. So I might not get all the strings. I might only get, 3 or 4 of them. But then when I come back, you'll notice that I'm going to strike still every string. But notice that my 3rd finger is now on that A at the 7th fret of the 4th string. And my hand is very much in not a proper position, okay? There is definitely a different hand position involved here. I am gripping this thing like a baseball bat, and I will be the first to admit that. Part of the reason that I'm doing that is because my fingers on my left hand have to mute everything else. So right now, my 1st finger is laying across the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd strings. My middle finger is just kind of hanging out. It does happen to be touching the 3rd string. I could reach it down and touch the lower strings if I needed to. This is one of those things where, you'll have to experiment with your own, depending on the size of your hand and your comfort level, your mobility, in your joints, all that kind of different stuff. You will have to make adjustments based on your own physicality and what you can comfortably do. But my thumb is killing the 6th string. My 3rd finger and my middle finger are killing the 5th string. My 3rd finger is pushing on the note that I want. My 1st finger is laying across some of the strings that I don't want. So dead, dead, that's the one I want, dead, dead, dead. Okay, so the first thing you're going to have to do is figure out a hand position that works for you to do that. To strum all 6 strings and get nothing except the one you want. Okay? And obviously it'll be different if I play with my 3rd finger, if I play a note, Or let's say I chose the 5th fret, right? Now, okay, now my first finger pretty much does all the work. Okay, so now I have my thumb again is still meeting out the 6th string for me. My first string, notice it's laying mostly flat because it's muting the 5th string, playing the 4th, and muting the 3rd, 2nd, and 1st. So I'm still striking every string, but I'm only getting the one I want. So what I would encourage you to do to start practicing this technique is on the down beat, strike the note. On the upbeat, hit a bunch of open strings, come back down on the downbeat. So I'm just going back and forth between the A and the G, the 7th fret and the 5th fret on the 4th string. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. When you get it a little bit faster, it gets less and less and less messy, more and more and more percussive, which is what you want. Notice that on those notes too, I tend to give them a little bit of blues squeeze, right? I tend to pull them right at the very end. Particularly the lower one. Now, from there, it's a matter of, okay, well, which notes do I want to use? And of course, if you're copying somebody else's riff, it's likely going to be, you know, it's a pretty good bet that you're going to find most of the notes that you need in the minor pentatonic scale. It lends itself to this, okay? And the pentatonic and the blues scale, that's the sound of the blues. So if you're trying to figure something out by ear, it's always a good bet that the notes are going to come from the pentatonic or the blues scale. So don't fish around randomly for notes. Figure that it's gonna be something out of the pentatonic scale and start there. If you absolutely can't find what you're looking for in those notes, okay, then maybe it might be something else. But likely it's going to be in that group of notes. So that's kind of a side note for your ear, but it's very helpful. All right, so let's say that we've got the 4th string down. Right, we should be able to do the 5th string as well. And for those of you that heard the new song we released the other day, that's exactly what that is. So it's just a lot of that kind of movement. Okay, where I'm hitting the up, and when I come down, I'm just hitting that 5th string, 7th fret right there. Right, and I can do the, so I can have the 5th string, 4th string, I could do the 3rd string. Now notice that when I do the 3rd string, you can see my thumb kind of coming over. That's because my thumb has to handle 2 strings down here now, okay? So what I'm doing is the 4th string, 7th fret, 5th string, 7th fret, 4th string, 5th fret, the A on the 7th fret of the 4th string, the 5th fret C on the 3rd string. A, E, G, C. And sometimes you miss when you're not thinking. But notice that it's a really, really heavy-handed idea. My right hand hits hard. If I break strings, it's usually doing this. It's not bending notes. It's usually because I'm really, really digging in with that right hand. You may find that you bust a couple of strings. If so, you're on the right track. Consider that a good thing. Okay. Now the last thing I want to show you to go with this is, you remember that I played that 3rd fret? the third string, the C at the 5th fret, there's a common trick that you'll hear, which is that. And it basically serves as a replacement for that C. And it's the pinky across the 8th fret, the C and the G, the 8th fret on the top 2 strings. And it sort of gives the impression of an A minor 7. It adds a little bit of a chord element to this, but you hear it a lot. So if I take that riff I was doing, and I just made this up, but the A, E, G, C, A, G, E, A, E, G, and then I do those 2 notes, right? And again, notice, so my pinky's doing the muting, these other 3 fingers just lay flat, right? Because I gotta get that mute. It's all right here. A, E, G, C, A, E, G, C, A, E. And you can hit 2 strings or 3, right? You can obviously alter that based on exactly what you want to hear, but that's a whole lot. You'd be amazed how many different riffs you can find from various, I'll say Texas style blues artists that are going to lay pretty much right there, all right? So try it out, play with it, have some fun with it. If you're watching me on YouTube, of course, feel free to subscribe to the channel. I will put some links in the description near this video for more information on Blues Guitar Unleashed. If you are watching on Facebook, make sure you like the Blues Guitar Unleashed page or follow it or whatever it is y'all do. I can't remember. And of course, if you have a blues guitar playing friend, as always, feel free to share it with them. And my name is Griff Hamlin. I will talk to you soon. Take care.